Hello, welcome to my channel, The Resting Mind. We're often told that a black hole is a vacuum in the sky, a hungry mouth devouring light, but this is a misunderstanding of what space actually is. In reality, the event horizon isn't a wall of fire, but a direction of time. Tonight, we find ourselves drifting through the silent velvet reaches of the cosmos, far from the frantic pace of our terrestrial lives, to look upon the most misunderstood architecture in the universe. We will explore why escaping a black hole isn't a problem of engine power or speed, but a problem of simple geometry, the moment where a way ceases to exist as a physical coordinate. While the concept of a point of no return sounds like a finality, it is actually the ultimate state of cosmic order. We are not looking at a trap, but at the universe's most perfect sanctuary of stillness. Imagine, if you will, the structure of the world around you. We often perceive space as an empty stage, a hollow container where events occur. But general relativity teaches us a more comforting truth. Space is a fabric. It is a tangible, flexible medium that responds to the presence of mass. Just as a heavy weight sits on a soft trampoline, stretching the fibers downward, a black hole stretches the fabric of spacetime until the downward slope becomes steeper than any possible upward path. In our daily lives, we move through Euclidean space, where north, south, east, and west are choices we make. But as we approach the gravity lock, those choices begin to dissolve into a singular, inevitable path. The anatomy of space here is fundamentally different. To understand the event horizon, we must first abandon the velocity myth. On Earth, we think in terms of escape velocity. If you throw a ball into the air, gravity pulls it back. If you throw it harder, it goes higher. If you launch a rocket at 11 kilometers per second, it breaks free from Earth's embrace and sails into the void. This leads many to believe that a black hole is simply a place where the escape velocity exceeds the speed of light. They imagine that if we only had a faster engine or a more powerful fuel, we could simply outrun the pull. But this is where the geometry of the inevitable takes over. In the vicinity of a Schwarzschild black hole, the very ground you would stand on to throw that ball is itself falling. Space is not static. It is flowing inward, accelerating as it nears the center. At the event horizon, the fabric of space is being pulled into the singularity at exactly the speed of light. Since nothing in our universe can travel through space faster than light, no engine, no matter how advanced, can move you upward against a current that is moving downward at the cosmic speed limit. It is not that you lack the power to escape. It is that the path to the outside no longer exists in your future. As we descend deeper into this structural reality, we encounter the static limit. This is the boundary where it becomes impossible to remain stationary. In our normal lives, we can choose to sit still, to anchor ourselves to a point. But near a black hole, the twisting of space-time, a phenomenon known as frame dragging, forces everything into motion. You are swept along by the geometry itself. Once you cross the threshold of the horizon, a profound transformation occurs in the way the universe is ordered. The singularity, that point of infinite density at the center, is no longer a place in front of you. It becomes a moment in your future. To understand this, consider your relationship with time. Right now, you are moving toward tomorrow. You cannot turn around and walk toward yesterday. No matter how fast you run or which direction you face, tomorrow is an inevitable destination. Inside the event horizon, the radial coordinate, the distance to the center, swaps its mathematical identity with the time coordinate. The center of the black hole is no longer a location in space, it is a point in time. Escaping the black hole would be as impossible as escaping the arrival of next Tuesday. It is a logical contradiction. This brings us to a sense of logical grounding. We often fear what we cannot control, yet there is a deep mathematical peace in realizing that the danger of a black hole is merely a result of where one is standing. It is a consequence of the universe's internal consistency. As we follow the curvature of light cones, those geometric envelopes that define the paths light can take, we see them tilting. Far away from the hole, the cones point toward the future in a wide, expansive fan of possibilities. But as we move closer, the cones tip inward. At the horizon, the edge of the light cone is perfectly vertical. Every possible path, every possible future for every atom in your body points toward the center. There is a beauty in this absolute certainty. In a universe that often feels chaotic and unpredictable, the event horizon represents a place where the laws of physics have made a final, unwavering decision. It is the transition from Schwarzschild geometry to a state of total gravitational lock. Here, the complexity of the world is stripped away until only the most fundamental truths remain. You are part of a geodesic, a natural curve in the world line of the cosmos. As we drift through this chapter of our journey, we begin to realize that the horizon is not a barrier of force, but a boundary of logic. It is the ultimate expression of the architect's plan, where the curvature of space and the flow of time become one and the same. The stillness here is profound. We are no longer fighting against the current. We are simply part of the flow. We are witnessing the transition from a world of frantic choices to a world of geometric inevitability. The math tells us that this is not an end, but a refinement. We are moving toward the singular point, following a path that was written into the stars long before we arrived. Would you like me to move on to Chapter 2, where we explore the river model and how the fluid nature of space creates the illusion of being frozen in time? Imagine a river. Not a river of water as we know it on Earth, but a river of the very fabric of existence itself. In the early 20th century, physicists began to realize that space and time are not a rigid, empty box in which events occur. Instead, they form a medium, a dynamic, flowing manifold that responds to the presence of mass. When we speak of a black hole, we are describing a region where this river of space-time begins to accelerate. Far away from the massive center, the current is gentle, a mere subterranean tug that we perceive as the standard gravity of a star. But as we drift closer to the threshold, the flow quickens. This is the river model of general relativity, a conceptual framework that helps us visualize why the event horizon is so absolute. It is not that you are being pulled by a phantom hand. It is that the ground beneath you, the very coordinates of your position, are washing toward the center. As we approach the event horizon, the speed of this spatial flow reaches a critical inflection point. In our universe, there is a fundamental speed limit, the velocity of light. It is the pace at which information and causality travel through the vacuum. Now, consider the predicament of a swimmer in this cosmic current. To move upstream, away from the black hole, you must be able to swim faster than the water is flowing toward the falls. At the event horizon, the space-time fabric is flowing inward at exactly the speed of light. Because nothing, no rocket, no particle, no flash of a laser, can move through space faster than light, it becomes physically impossible to make any progress toward the outside world. Even if you turned your engines to their maximum capacity, you would find yourself perfectly stationary relative to the horizon, yet still being swept inward by the relentless motion of the background geometry. It is the ultimate treadmill, where the faster you run, the more the universe itself pulls the track in the opposite direction. This creates a strange, beautiful illusion for those watching from a safe distance. To an outside observer, your descent appears to slow down as you reach the edge. The light reflecting off your vessel must climb out of a deepening gravitational well, losing energy and shifting toward the red end of the spectrum. To them, you seem to fade and freeze, becoming a permanent, ghostly fixture on the horizon's surface, a frozen star. But for you, the transition is seamless. You feel no jolt, no sudden change in the local laws of physics. You simply continue your drift, passing through the most famous boundary in the cosmos, as if it were nothing more than a shadow on the water. You have entered a realm where the distinction between here and there begins to dissolve into a singular, unified direction. Would you like me to proceed to Chapter 3, where we delve into the deep lull of the Schwarzschild metric and explore the mathematical elegance Carl Schwarzschild discovered while surrounded by the chaos of the Great War? We are often told that a black hole is a vacuum in the sky, a hungry mouth devouring light. But this is a misunderstanding of what space actually is. In reality, the event horizon isn't a wall of fire, but a direction of time. Tonight, we will explore why escaping a black hole isn't a problem of engine power or speed, but a problem of simple geometry, the moment where away ceases to exist as a coordinate. While the concept of a point of no return sounds like a finality, it is actually the ultimate state of cosmic order. We are not looking at a trap, but at the universe's most perfect sanctuary of stillness. To understand this stillness, we must look to the winter of 1915, where Carl Schwarzschild, a physicist serving on the Russian front during the First World War, found a moment of profound clarity amidst the thunder of artillery. While the world around him was descending into the chaos of human conflict, Schwarzschild was calculating the curvature of a perfect spherical silence. He was the first to provide an exact solution to Albert Einstein's field equations, discovering the mathematical signature of what we now call a black hole. It is a profound irony of our history that the most peaceful, inevitable geometry in the cosmos was mapped while the map maker was surrounded by the noise of war. Schwarzschild's math centers on a specific value, a radius that defines the boundary where the escape velocity equals the speed of light. This is the r sub s equals 2 gm over c squared threshold. To the mathematician, this is the Schwarzschild metric. To the traveler, it is the moment the universe stops being a place and starts being a process. As we approach this boundary, the metric tensor, the mathematical tool we use to measure distances and intervals, begins to behave in ways that defy our earthly intuition. In our daily lives, we are used to Euclidean geometry, where a straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points, and the floor beneath our feet is a stable reference. But as the mass of the black hole densifies, the very fabric of the coordinate system begins to stretch and warp. The metric shows us that as we get closer to the horizon, the coefficient of the time component and the radial component undergo a radical shift. It is often thought that the singularity at the event horizon is a physical rip in the universe, but Schwarzschild's equations reveal a more subtle truth. The mathematical infinity found at the horizon is what physicists call a coordinate singularity, much like the North Pole on a map of the Earth, where the lines of longitude all meet at a single point. The edge of a black hole is not an end to space, but a limitation of the way we choose to measure it. If you were to change your map, switching from Schwarzschild coordinates to Kruskal-Sekares coordinates, the wall at the horizon simply vanishes. You would glide through it, realizing that the boundary was never a physical barrier, but a shift in the perspective of the cosmos itself. As we follow the path of a photon in this geometry, its world line begins to tilt, curving inward until the very notion of a straight line becomes a circle that never closes. The metric tensor acts as a rhythmic guide, pulling the path of all things toward the center not through force, but through the sheer lack of any other available direction. The space is so curved that it begins to wrap around itself. In this deep mathematical lull, we find that the equations are not describing a violent crash, but a geometric inevitability. The Schwarzschild radius is a sanctuary where the laws of physics find their most stable, unmoving expression. Would you like me to continue into the next movement, where we explore how the very concepts of time and space swap roles once we cross this threshold? To understand the nature of this boundary, we must first dismantle our intuition about what an object is, and replace it with the understanding of what space does. We often imagine space as an empty container, a silent stage upon which the drama of the stars unfolds. But general relativity teaches us that the stage is itself a participant. It is a fabric, a flexible and dynamic manifold that responds to the presence of mass. When we speak of the geometry of the inevitable, we are speaking of Schwarzschild geometry, the mathematical description of a point where the fabric of the universe has been stretched to its absolute limit. Imagine a vast, taut trampoline. If you place a marble on it, the fabric dips slightly. If you place a lead weight, the dip becomes a well. But a black hole is not merely a weight. It is a point where the well becomes infinitely deep, creating a slope so steep that the very concept of up begins to vanish from the local vocabulary of physics. In our daily lives, we are governed by Euclidean geometry, where a straight line is the shortest distance between 2 points and parallel lines never meet. But as we approach the event horizon, the lines of the universe begin to converge. This is the anatomy of space-time in its most extreme form. The transition from the flat space of our solar system to the curved geometry of a black hole is a shift from freedom to a singular, guided path. We often hear the term escape velocity used to describe the horizon, the idea that you would need to travel faster than light to get out. However, this is a persistent myth that obscures the true beauty of the math. Escape velocity implies a struggle between two forces, like a rocket fighting gravity. But at the event horizon, the problem is not a lack of power, it is a lack of road. When you stand on the surface of the Earth and throw a ball into the air, the ball eventually returns because the curvature of space-time around the Earth is gentle. If you throw it at 11 kilometers per second, it escapes because it has enough kinetic energy to overcome that gentle curve. But inside the Schwarzschild radius, the geometry is so distorted that the ground beneath you is effectively falling toward the center, faster than any object could ever move away from it. It is not that you are being pulled by a phantom hand. It is that the geometry of the universe has tilted so far that every direction you might choose to move, left, right, forward, or back, actually leads deeper into the hole. This brings us to the concept of the static limit. In the world we know, we can choose to sit still. We can park a car, sit in a chair, or hover a drone in place. We assume that staying put is always an option provided we have enough fuel. But as we cross the threshold of the event horizon, the coordinate we call radius or distance begins to change its fundamental nature. The singularity at the center is no longer a location in space that you are traveling toward. It becomes a point in time. Just as you cannot stop yourself from moving toward tomorrow, you cannot stop yourself from moving toward the center of a black hole. The danger we perceive is actually just a mathematical result of where we are standing in the timeline of the universe. It is a logical grounding, a realization that the event horizon is not a physical wall, but the moment where the future and the center become one and the same. Here, the light cones, the mathematical boundaries of where a particle can go, tilt so sharply that they point entirely inward. To turn back would be the equivalent of trying to walk into yesterday. It is physically, geometrically, and temporally impossible. In this space, the only possible motion is the motion toward the ultimate stillness of the center. To understand this inescapable progression, we must look beyond the abstract diagrams of curved grids and instead envision something more visceral, more fluid. The river model of general relativity. Imagine, if you will, a vast and silent river, its surface as smooth as glass, flowing through the dark reaches of the cosmos. This river is not made of water, but of space and time itself. Far upstream, the current is gentle, a subtle tug that barely registers as you drift along. In this distant reach, you have the freedom to swim in any direction. You can paddle against the flow, linger in the eddies, or cross from bank to bank. Here, the velocity of the space-time stream is negligible, and your own engine power, your own will, is more than enough to dictate your trajectory. But as the river approaches the precipice of the black hole, the geography of the universe begins to narrow and steepen. The water of space-time begins to accelerate. This is the phenomenon of frame dragging and gravitational indrawing, where the very fabric of the vacuum is no longer a static stage, but a moving conveyor belt. As you move closer to the event horizon, the speed of this cosmic river increases steadily. You might find that even with your engines at full throttle, you are merely holding your position, treading water against a current that is becoming increasingly viscous and determined. Eventually, you reach the threshold, the waterfall. At the exact boundary of the event horizon, the mathematical reality of the universe dictates that the river of space is flowing inward at exactly the speed of light. Herein lies the ultimate constraint of our physical reality, Einstein's universal speed limit. Since nothing, not even a single photon of light, can move through the medium of space faster than light itself. And since the space you are inhabiting is now rushing toward the center at that very speed, the possibility of upstream simply vanishes. To move away from the center, you would need to swim through the water faster than the water is falling. But the laws of physics have set a hard ceiling on your velocity. No matter how powerful your stroke, no matter how bright your flare, you cannot move even a millimeter backward. You are not being held by a tether. You are simply part of a stream that has nowhere else to go. The most haunting aspect of this transition is its profound silence. To you, the traveler, the crossing of the horizon is an illusion of choice. Because you are falling with the river, you feel no sudden jerk, no snap of a trap, and no wall of resistance. You might look at your hands and see them move normally. You might look at your watch and see the seconds ticking by in their familiar rhythm. Locally, everything feels mundane. Yet, to an observer watching from the safety of the distant upstream banks, a strange and eternal tableau unfolds. Due to the stretching of light waves, they see you begin to slow down as you approach the edge. Your image reddens, your movements become sluggish, and eventually, you seem to freeze entirely at the lip of the waterfall. You become a frozen star, a permanent monument of a moment that, for you, has already passed. You have transitioned into a realm where your past is a distant shore you can see but never reach, while your future is a singular, inevitable direction. Would you like me to proceed with Chapter 3, the Schwarzschild metric, to delve into the deep mathematical lull of the tensor equations and the r equals 2 gm over c squared boundary? To understand the nature of this boundary, we must look at the geometry not as a physical wall, but as a mathematical inevitability born from the mind of Carl Schwarzschild. There is a profound, almost poetic irony in the origin of these equations. Schwarzschild formulated the first exact solution to Einstein's field equations in 1915, not in the quiet sanctum of a university library, but amidst the mud and the rhythmic, terrifying thunder of the Russian front during the First World War. While the world around him was tearing itself apart with kinetic energy and chaos, Schwarzschild was calculating the ultimate stillness, a point in the universe where the metric of space and time becomes so curved that it pinches off from the rest of reality. We describe this boundary through the Schwarzschild metric, a set of coordinates that tells us how to measure distances and durations near a spherical mass. As we approach the critical radius defined by the formula r equals 2gm over c squared, the math begins to behave in ways that defy our earthly intuition. In this equation, g represents the gravitational constant, m is the mass of the black hole, and c is the speed of light. This specific radius marks the event horizon, but for decades, physicists were haunted by what appeared to be a singularity at this very spot. The math seemed to suggest that time stopped entirely and space became infinite. However, we now understand that the singularity at the event horizon is not a physical catastrophe, but a coordinate singularity. It is a limitation of the map, not the territory. It is much like the North Pole on a standard Mercator projection map of the Earth. On the paper, the pole looks like a long, distorted line stretching across the top. But to the traveler standing there, it is just another point on a smooth, continuous surface. As we follow the path of a photon or a falling observer, The geodesic equations, the formulas that describe the shortest path between 2 points in curved spacetime, reveal a hauntingly beautiful transition. The world line of the observer begins to tilt, leaning deeper into the gravitational well. The light cones, which represent all possible futures, tip over until every path forward leads only to the center. There is no longer a path that points out. Just as on a compass at the North Pole, every direction you could possibly step is south. We are watching the geometry of the universe reconfigure itself into a lattice of destiny, where the very notion of a straight line becomes a circle that never closes. A mathematical lullaby that ensures everything eventually finds its way to the same silent center. Next, we must consider what happens when the fabric of reality itself performs a sleight of hand. Would you like me to continue with Chapter 4, exploring how space and time literally swap roles once the horizon is crossed? We must now contemplate the most profound architectural shift the universe can perform, a transformation that occurs the very microsecond you cross the Schwarzschild boundary. In the world we currently inhabit, space and time are distinct experiences. Space is the realm of freedom. You can choose to walk left, to run right, or to stand perfectly still. Time, however, is a river that pulls us forward against our will. We cannot go back to yesterday, nor can we pause the arrival of tomorrow. But inside the event horizon, the universe performs a spectacular inversion. The mathematical coordinates for distance and the coordinates for time literally swap their physical properties. This is the Great Flip, a moment where the radial direction, the path leading toward the center of the black hole, stops being a location in space and becomes a location in time. To understand the weight of this, imagine that the singularity at the center is no longer a place you are traveling toward, but a date on a calendar. Just as you cannot stop yourself from reaching next Friday, you cannot stop yourself from reaching the center. To try and move away from the singularity once you are inside is not a failure of your engines or your strength. It is as logically impossible as trying to turn around and walk into the year 1995. The exit is quite literally in your past. You are currently Thursday, and the singularity is the unavoidable arrival of Friday morning. This inversion creates an architecture of fate that is both terrifying and strangely serene. The interior is not a dark, chaotic room, but a hall of mirrors where every possible path, every reflection, and every choice leads to the same final moment. You may feel as though you are falling through a vast, silent expanse, but you are actually falling through the hours. The distance between you and the center is not measured in miles, but in seconds. In this realm, the fabric of reality has woven a cocoon where the away coordinate has been deleted from the cosmic map. There is no such thing as out, because out has become yesterday, and the universe does not allow for such retreats. This creates a sense of cosmic vertigo, a realization that the very laws of physics have conspired to turn your surroundings into a singular, inevitable destiny. Every atom of your being is now participating in a journey that is guided by the geometry of time itself, moving toward a state of perfect, unalterable stillness that waits at the end of the final hour. In this place, the concept of choice is replaced by the concept of arrival, and the universe finally achieves a state where the traveler and the destination are made of the same temporal thread. Would you like me to continue with Chapter 5, exploring the eternal frozen moment, and how time dilation creates a holographic preservation of everything that falls in? The transition from the frantic motion of the external world to the silent periphery of the event horizon brings us to a phenomenon that is perhaps the most compassionate aspect of general relativity. To an outside observer, perhaps a friend watching from the safety of a distant starship, your journey into the dark does not end in a sudden flash or a violent disappearance. Instead, the universe performs a slow, graceful preservation of your image. This is the observer's paradox, a consequence of gravitational time dilation, so profound that it blurs the line between presence and memory. As you approach the horizon, the light reflecting off your skin must climb out of an increasingly steep gravitational well. To do this, the light loses energy, its frequency stretching into longer, lazier waves. The vibrant colors of your suit begin to shift, moving through the spectrum into a deep, bruised crimson, and then further into the invisible reaches of the infrared. To your friend, your clock appears to tick with a heavy, rhythmic slowness. Every movement you make becomes a long, cinematic gesture that takes minutes, then hours, then years to complete. You appear to hover just above the threshold, a permanent fixture of the horizon's edge. You never actually cross. Instead, you become a frozen star, an eternal silhouette etched into the very fabric of the black hole's boundary. This is not a trick of the light. It is the way the universe manages its information. Even as you, the traveler, feel yourself slipping peacefully into the interior, the outside world retains a holographic record of your existence. Every atom of information that makes you who you are is plastered onto the surface of the horizon like a delicate, luminous film. There is a profound safety in this cosmic valve. In our daily lives, we fear the loss of things, the way time erodes our memories, and the way the past seems to vanish behind us. But the event horizon is the ultimate ledger. It is a place where nothing is truly deleted. The universe ensures that even as you move toward a new state of being, the memory of your journey remains held in a state of infinite redshift, a faint, thermal glow that whispers to the rest of the cosmos that you were here, that you mattered, and that your story is now part of the eternal architecture of the stars. You are being preserved in a sanctuary of light that will last as long as the black hole itself, cradled by the very gravity that once seemed so formidable. In this eternal moment, the stretch of light waves into infinity acts as a bridge between the finite and the eternal. The redshift is not a fading away, but a transition into a deeper, more resonant frequency of existence. We find ourselves looking at the horizon not as a mouth of shadows, but as a vast, shimmering library. Everything that has ever fallen, every stray photon, every grain of cosmic dust, every wandering explorer, is archived here in a silent, golden stillness. The pressure of time, which usually hurries us toward an uncertain future, is finally neutralized. At the horizon, time simply waits. It holds its breath, allowing the image of the traveler to rest in a state of perpetual grace, safe from the chaotic churn of the universe outside. This is the safety valve of the cosmos, a realization that in the grand geometry of space, nothing is ever truly lost to the void. It is merely transformed into a more permanent kind of peace. The transition from this holographic preservation leads us naturally to the physical experience of the crossing itself. where the vastness of the black hole dictates the gentleness of your journey. Would you like me to proceed to Chapter 6, where we explore the tidal forces and the gentle stretch, focusing on how a supermassive black hole turns the most powerful boundary in physics into a silent, weightless ghost? To understand the physical sensation of this crossing, we must first abandon the violent imagery often associated with the abyss. We tend to imagine the event horizon as a jagged edge or a crushing weight, but for the most significant structures in our universe, the supermassive black holes inhabiting the hearts of galaxies, the transition is remarkably, almost hauntingly, serene. If you were to approach a black hole the size of the one at the center of our own Milky Way, Sagittarius A star, or the even more gargantuan M87 star, you would find that the threshold of no return is not a wall of fire or a localized point of pressure. Because the horizon's radius is so vast, the curvature of space at the point of entry is surprisingly flat. To your physical body, the crossing is a ghost. There is no thud, no sudden jolt of gravity, and no alarm that rings to tell you that the coordinates of your life have shifted from space to time. This gentleness is a matter of tidal forces, the difference in gravitational pull between your feet and your head. In a small stellar mass black hole, this difference is radical and violent, leading to the famous concept of spaghettification. But in a supermassive giant, the slope of gravity is so gradual that your body feels entirely at ease. You are in a state of perfect freefall, a cosmic weightlessness that feels more like drifting through a still pond than falling down a well. Imagine a drop of ink suspended in a glass of water, slowly beginning to elongate. You are that drop. The stretching is not a mechanical pulling of your limbs, but a subtle, fundamental lengthening of the very atoms that compose you. It is a transition into a cosmic mist, where every cell of your being begins to occupy a slightly more rhythmic, extended space. In this region, the universe's most absolute boundary behaves like a veil of silk. You look around and see the stars of the outer universe still shining, though their light is beginning to wrap around you in strange, beautiful halos. There is a profound quiet here, a suspension of all the frantic energy of the living world. You are experiencing the ultimate stillness, where the transition from the known to the unknown happens with the softness of a shadow moving across a floor. The stretch is not an ending, but a graceful adaptation to a new geometry, a quiet surrender to the fact that you are now part of the black hole's eternal, silent architecture. Would you like me to move into Chapter 7, The Information Paradox, where we explore how this cosmic mist of your physical form is recorded on the horizon's surface like a holographic memory? Even the most absolute boundaries in the cosmos, those we call event horizons, are not quite as perfect or as eternal as they first appear. There is a subtle leak in the architecture of the void, a slow and rhythmic breathing that suggests the universe refuses to truly let anything go. This is the realm of Hawking radiation, a process where the vacuum itself begins to shimmer with a faint, ghostly thermal glow. At the very edge of the horizon, where space is stretched to its breaking point, pairs of virtual particles are constantly blinking into existence and then vanishing, returning to the nothingness from which they came. But occasionally, the geometry of the black hole intervenes. One particle is claimed by the dark, falling forever into the center, while its partner is cast out into the wide expanse of the stars. In this moment, the black hole has paid a tiny, microscopic price in mass to let that particle go. Over periods of time so vast they dwarf the current age of our universe, this process of evaporation begins to thin the density of the black hole. It is a transition from the ultimate weight of gravity to a soft, thermal mist. But this raises a profound question about the memory of the cosmos. If you were to fall into that darkness, where does the you of you go? The holographic principle suggests a beautiful and reassuring answer. It proposes that the three-dimensional reality of your body, your thoughts, and your history is not lost within the singularity, but is instead flattened and preserved upon the surface of the horizon itself. Imagine your entire existence written in tiny, plank-sized pixels, a shimmering record of information encoded on the two-dimensional skin of the black hole. You are not a ghost in a machine. You are the data that defines the machine's surface. This is the ultimate cycle of return. The universe takes the complex order of a star or a traveler, compresses it into the most efficient storage medium imaginable, and then, over trillions of years, slowly breathes that information back into the vacuum through the soft glow of radiation. There is a deep, abstract comfort in this mathematical symmetry. It suggests that nothing is ever truly deleted from the ledger of reality. The black hole is not a grave, but a vast, silent library, where the information of the universe is held in a state of perfect preservation until the time comes for it to be released back into the cosmic sea. As we consider this slow evaporation, we find ourselves moving away from the cold math of tensors and toward a more fluid understanding of existence, where the horizon is merely a temporary boundary for a memory that lasts forever. Next step. Would you like me to continue into Chapter 8, The Singularity as a New Beginning, where we explore the possibility that the center of a black hole is not a dead end, but a white hole or a seed for an entirely new universe? As we follow the path of information through the thinning veil of the horizon, we find ourselves standing at the precipice of a new kind of geometry, one that suggests the singularity is not the final, crushing period at the end of a cosmic sentence, but perhaps a comma or a bridge leading to an entirely different shore. Physicists often speak of the Penrose diagram, a map of infinite possibilities where the internal structure of a black hole is mirrored by its theoretical twin, the white hole, an eruptive fountain of matter and light that exists in a space we cannot yet see. In this mathematical landscape, the collapse of a star is merely the first half of a much larger story, a compression so profound that it punches through the very floor of our reality to bloom into a big bang for another baby universe, hidden forever from our own, but teeming with its own potential for stars, planets, and life. Imagine the cosmos not as a single static void, but as an infinite branching tree where every black hole is a dark, heavy seed planted in the soil of space-time. Within each seed, the laws of physics as we know them begin to dissolve, shedding their complexity and returning to a state of primal simplicity, a place of total privacy, where the frantic entropy of our world finally comes to a rest. This is the ultimate solitude, a sanctuary at the center of the storm where time no longer carries the burden of the past or the anxiety of the future. We begin to see the singularity not as a point of destruction, but as a moment of profound transformation, a cosmic recycling where everything that was once lost is gathered together, refined, and prepared to be born anew in a flash of light on the other side of the mathematical mirror. It is a graceful, eternal cycle that reminds us that in a universe governed by such perfect geometric symmetry, nothing is ever truly a dead end. Instead, every closing door is simply the quiet preparation for an opening somewhere else, in a garden of stars we have yet to name. Next step. Would you like me to move into Chapter 9? The Silence of the Spheres, where we explore the atmospheric texture of the photon sphere and the strange, quiet beauty of seeing the back of your own head in the orbit of light. Before we reach the event horizon itself, we find ourselves drifting through a region of space that defies every visual intuition we have ever cultivated. This is the photon sphere, a shell of light, where the gravity of the black hole is so precisely balanced that photons, particles of light, are forced into a permanent circular orbit. Imagine for a moment standing within this thin, shimmering boundary. Because light is traveling in a circle around the massive center, the photons reflecting off the back of your head travel around the entire circumference of the hole and return directly to your eyes. You are looking forward into the abyss, and yet you are staring at your own silhouette, rendered in the pale, ancient glow of trapped starlight. It is a hall of mirrors created by nothing but the curvature of the vacuum itself. As we linger here, the atmosphere of the universe begins to change. The sky above is no longer a vast open dome. It is shrinking. The sheer pull of the black hole is bending the paths of all incoming light, compressing the entire history of the visible universe into a smaller and smaller circle directly above you. It is as if you are looking up from the bottom of a deep, crystalline well. Outside that circle, there is only the velvet dark, a blackness so absolute and so heavy that it feels physical, like a weighted blanket settling over the mind. This is not the darkness of a room with the lights turned out. It is the darkness of a place where the very concept of out has begun to dissolve. In this space, there is a profound weight of quiet. There is no air to carry a vibration, no solar wind to whistle against a hull, no ticking of a clock that can compete with the suspension of all human hurry. You are suspended in a state of total, frictionless grace. Below you, the void rises to meet you, not like a predator, but like a rising tide of cool, still water. Every atom of your being is beginning to synchronize with the rhythmic, geometric pulse of the Schwarzschild metric. You are no longer a traveler in a hurry to arrive. You are a part of the architecture, a single point of consciousness drifting through a cathedral of gravity where the only sound is the silent, perfect orbit of light. The boundary you are approaching now is not a wall, and it is not a cage. It is a mirror. Just as the Schwarzschild radius marks the limit where the external world can no longer reach, sleep is a horizon we cross every single night of our lives. It is a transition where the coordinates of the day, the appointments, the deadlines, the weight of the clock, simply cease to have any mathematical meaning. In the mathematics of the event horizon, we find a profound reflection of our own need to let go. To enter a black hole is to abandon the R coordinate, the radial distance, and to accept that your only direction is forward into a deep, inevitable stillness. To fall asleep is to do the same. You are encouraged now to stop measuring the distance between where you are and where you need to be. In this geometry, there is no more away. There is only here, and here is a place of total, unassailable safety. Imagine yourself as a point of pure consciousness, drifting through the dark. This dark is not an empty void. It is a space of infinite potential, much like the singularity before the first stars were ignited. It is the womb of the universe. Within this horizon, the static of the world is filtered out, leaving only the steady, rhythmic pulse of your own existence. You are drifting. You are falling. You are safe. The gravity of this moment is not a heavy weight, but a soft, encompassing embrace that holds you exactly where you belong. There is no need to fight the current of the river anymore, for the river has become a lake, vast, dark, and perfectly still. The coordinates of your life have dissolved into a singular moment of peace. You are crossing the threshold now, moving from the world of light and noise into the world of shadow and silence. This is the ultimate destination of every journey. It is the place where the laws of physics and the needs of the soul finally align. You are no longer a traveler. You are the destination itself. You are home. Imagine for a moment that the entire history of the cosmos is a great, winding river, and every star, every planet, and every heartbeat is a single droplet carried toward a vast and silent sea. We began this journey with a sense of trepidation, perhaps viewing the event horizon as a boundary of loss, a cosmic trap that strips away the light and the familiar rhythm of our lives. But as we stand here at the very edge of the mathematical infinite, a different truth begins to emerge from the velvet dark. The gravity lock is not a cage, and the event horizon is not a wall. Instead, it is the universe's way of gathering its most precious thoughts and holding them in a state of eternal, unchanging grace. In the world we left behind, everything is defined by its transience. Flowers fade, mountains crumble, and the very stars eventually exhaust their nuclear fires. But here, within the embrace of the Schwarzschild geometry, the arrow of time has performed its final, most beautiful trick. By turning space into time and time into space, the black hole has created a sanctuary where the concept of ending no longer applies. To fall into this stillness is to be woven into the very fabric of reality itself, preserved in a holographic layer that will outlast the galaxies. It is the ultimate destination of a universe that is simply trying to find its way home to a state of total, perfect stillness. The journey from the chaotic world of engine power and light speed races has led us to this singular point of rest. We can let go of the need to escape, for there is nowhere else that needs to be reached. The horizon is not a barrier to be feared, but a promise made by the laws of physics. A promise that no matter how far you travel, no matter how much noise you have endured, the universe will always provide a place for you to finally, truly come to rest. The heavy weight of your coordinates, your past, and your future has been lifted, replaced by the weightless geometry of the void. Sleep now, for you are already home. We are often told that a black hole is a vacuum in the sky, a hungry mouth devouring light, but this is a misunderstanding of what space actually is. In reality, the event horizon isn't a wall of fire, but a direction of time. Tonight, we will explore why escaping a black hole isn't a problem of engine power or speed, but a problem of simple geometry. The moment where away ceases to exist as a coordinate. While the concept of a point of no return sounds like a finality, it is actually the ultimate state of cosmic order. We are not looking at a trap, but at the universe's most perfect sanctuary of stillness. To understand the architecture of this stillness, we must first look at the anatomy of space. It is not an empty stage where actors play their parts, but a fabric, a physical medium that can be stretched, twisted, and folded. Imagine a heavy weight resting on a trampoline. The fabric dips, creating a slope. On a cosmic scale, a black hole is that weight, but its mass is so concentrated that the fabric doesn't just dip, it tears into a bottomless well. In the Euclidean geometry we use to navigate our daily lives, we think of up and down as choices. But in Schwarzschild geometry, the very ground you would stand on is falling. We often speak of escape velocity, the speed required to break free from a planet's gravity. On Earth, that speed is roughly 11 kilometers per second. If you have a rocket powerful enough, you can leave. But the event horizon is the place where the escape velocity equals the speed of light. Since the laws of physics forbid anything from moving faster than light, the exit is effectively deleted. However, thinking of it as a speed limit is still too limited. It is more accurate to say that the fabric of space itself is flowing inward. Imagine trying to walk up an escalator that is moving down faster than you can step. No matter how much energy you expend, your position relative to the floor remains the same. Or worse, you are carried backward. At the static limit of a black hole, the downward flow of space becomes so steep that outward is no longer a path you can even point toward. This brings us to the river model of general relativity. Picture a vast, silent river flowing toward a massive waterfall. Far upstream, the water moves slowly. You can swim against the current, or perhaps dock your boat at the shore. As you drift closer to the precipice, the current quickens. This current is gravity. The water is space-time itself. As you reach the edge of the falls, the event horizon, the water is moving at the velocity of c, the speed of light. Because you are a part of this fluid universe, and because no signal can outrun light, no stroke of your arms can move you an inch upstream. The waterfall is not a wall, it is simply the point where the river's motion exceeds your own capacity for resistance. The illusion of choice is perhaps the most haunting aspect of this geometry. To an observer watching from a safe distance, you appear to slow down as you approach the horizon. Because gravity warps time, the light reflecting off your body takes longer and longer to climb out of the gravity well. To them, you become a frozen star, a red-shifted ghost hovering forever at the brink. But you, the traveler, feel nothing unusual. There is no signpost, no trespassing sign. You pass the horizon in total silence, unaware that you have just left the causal universe behind. This mathematical boundary was first glimpsed by Carl Schwarzschild in 1916. It is a profound irony that while he was stationed on the brutal, chaotic front lines of World War I, he was calculating the most perfect silence in the cosmos. He found a solution to Einstein's field equations that described a point of infinite density. In his honor, we call the radius of the event horizon the Schwarzschild radius, defined by the elegant formula R equals 2gm/c squared. This isn't just a number, it is a description of the point where the metric tensor, the mathematical grid we use to measure distance and time, breaks down in its traditional form. In our normal world, we use 4 coordinates, 3 for space, X, Y, Z, and 1 for time, T. We can move forward or backward in space, but we are always dragged forward in time. Inside the event horizon, a magnificent and terrifying inversion occurs. The radial coordinate, the distance to the center, swaps places with the time coordinate. This means that moving toward the center of the black hole is no longer a choice of direction. It is the passage of time. You can no longer move away from the singularity for the same reason you cannot move away from tomorrow. The center of the black hole is not a place in space, it is a moment in your future. To try and turn back would be like trying to turn your ship around and sail into last Tuesday. It is logically and geometrically impossible. As we descend deeper into this thought, the sentences of the universe begin to lengthen and blur. The geodesic equations, which govern the path of all objects, tell us that your world line, the history of your existence, is now curving into a closed loop. As we follow the path of a photon near the horizon, its world line begins to tilt, curving inward until the very notion of a straight line becomes a circle that never closes. The universe becomes a hall of mirrors. Every direction you look, you see the singularity, not because it is everywhere, but because every path leads there. It is the ultimate architecture of fate. Yet, there is a strange comfort in this inevitability. For a supermassive black hole, like the giants that sit at the hearts of galaxies, the transition is remarkably gentle. Because the horizon is so large, the tidal forces, the difference in gravity between your head and your feet, are negligible. You could cross the horizon of a billion solar mass black hole and not even feel a breeze. It is a quiet transition, a cosmic mist where you are stretched, not by a painful pull, but by a subtle lengthening of every atom, like a drop of ink diffusing into a still pond. You become part of the dark, a long, elegant thread of information woven into the fabric of the singularity. Even the horizon itself is not the end of the story. Over vast, unfathomable eons, black holes begin to breathe. Through a process known as Hawking radiation, they slowly evaporate. The event horizon, once thought to be a perfect seal, leaks. It whispers the information it has gathered back into the void. This suggests the holographic principle, the idea that you were never truly lost inside the hole. Instead, your entire history, every bit of information that makes you who you are, was written onto the surface of the horizon in tiny, plank-sized pixels. You are preserved on the skin of the dark, a memory held by the gravity of the universe. Eventually, even the most massive black holes will fade. The information they held will return to the cosmos as a soft thermal glow. It is a cycle of return, from the vibrant order of a star to the ultimate density of the black hole, and finally back to the quiet radiation of the vacuum. This is the safety valve of physics. Nothing is ever truly deleted from the universe's ledger. We are simply reorganized, held in a state of perfect preservation until the clock of the universe runs down. In this state of reflection, we can look at the singularity not as a dead end, but as a bridge. Some theorists, using Penrose diagrams to map the infinite reach of space-time, suggest that the center of a black hole might be a white hole in another dimension, a Big Bang for a baby universe. Perhaps every black hole is a seed, and we are simply the inhabitants of a garden grown from a collapse in a world above our own. It is a fractal reality, an infinite tree of being where every end is a hidden beginning. As you drift closer to the finality of sleep, consider the photon sphere. This is a region just outside the horizon where gravity is so strong that light itself orbits in a circle. If you were to stand there and look forward, you would see the back of your own head, as the light reflecting off you travels around the hole and returns to your eyes. It is the ultimate perspective, a place where the universe looks back at itself. Beyond this sphere, the sky begins to shrink. The stars above you gather into a small, bright circle of light, while the void below rises to meet you like a rising tide. There is no sound here. There is no pressure. The hurry of the world, the ticking of clocks, and the weight of expectations are stripped away. You are in a place of total privacy, a sanctuary where the laws of our universe finally come to rest. The event horizon is a boundary that protects this silence. It is a cosmic do not disturb sign, ensuring that the transition from the world of action to the world of pure geometry is absolute. Just as the black hole has a boundary you cannot cross back from, sleep is a horizon we cross every night. We let go of our coordinates. We stop measuring how far we have come or how far we have to go. We become a point of consciousness drifting in the dark. The dark is not empty, it is full of potential, a vacuum state waiting for the next dream to be born. The lock of gravity is not a cage, it is a geometric embrace. It is the force that holds the galaxies together, the force that guides the planets, and the force that eventually brings every wandering atom back to a state of rest. The horizon is not a wall, but a promise that no matter how far you travel, the universe will always provide a place for you to finally truly come to rest. We began by fearing the trap of gravity, but we end by realizing that this inevitability is the ultimate form of safety. You are part of this geometry. You are a line in the great metric of the cosmos, curving gently toward the stillness. The heavy weight of your coordinates, your past, and your future has been lifted, replaced by the weightless geometry of the void. Sleep now, for you are already home.